Last week you were building continuation divergence systems with simple moving averages of your own. We also did a bonus, which was N-bar systems, and absolutely if you had a chance you would have built one of those. So I'm going to ask some questions. First of all, not with the N-bar system, I want a yes, a no, or a depending on how you went with the continuation or just the oscillator and the moving average system, so you're putting two indicators together. Can I have yes for yep, build a system, no for just flatly did not, and for tried to but too hard and didn't quite have the time. Okay, I'm up to a noise system this week, so I'm going to show you a noise system of mine, but we've got a few yeses. Okay, good. One of my most powerful systems is based on that. But I would say too, to date, of all the systems we've discussed, it's probably one of the hardest to put together, is that one. So if you did do it, well done. That's the hardest yet. You've done very well. And if you found it hard, there's a good reason why. Now I'm going to show you one I did. This week were noise. I found it quite difficult to build a noise system. I can't, you know my views on noise systems, but anyway, I did it on a 5-minute Euro USD. I'll show you the type that I was looking for. Okay, so I've got Euro USD. Now, as I say, everyone, next week please have microphones. They're $20 or $15 from Dick Smith. And I want to be able to turn the microphones on and hear from you each week. I want to hear how you're going. I want to know at the end of your 3 months that you're doing well and moving forward profitably. Now, if it's placing one trade a week, then mission accomplished. Okay, you're taking baby steps, but you're still doing it. If you're taking more than that, great. If you're taking less than that, fine, but I do want to hear that you're doing well and you're lining up for success. Now, as I said, with the moving averages and the oscillator, I didn't care how you used them. I pointed out one particular way last week that I thought was quite good, but you could use them in any fashion you wanted. What I did today is on a hunt for a noise system, just put one together out of interest. What I'm looking for is a 20 and a 50 to cross on the 5-minute, and then I'm waiting for the oscillator down the bottom to turn up, so go from falling to rising. So here I'm going to mark all the interesting points. So they crossed here, so they changed. Then there's obviously lots of times that the oscillator turned up, but I was after a particular type where it turned up, and I was looking for a turn up sort of around the 0 line. And so here, believe it or not, the turn up that it has found is this little turn up there, because it was around the 0 line. And another thing I'm looking for is that it's higher than it was an hour ago. Okay, so overall it's moving up like that. And then I'm looking for one of them per cross, and I'm doing it through the pre-market session. So this one got me in here and took me up to there. And just looking through for that type of systems. Now, it wouldn't matter what you put together, they're all good systems, but that's the one I put together. I'll go show you another one. Wow. Alright, I'll draw it in so you can see how it works. The cross was here. This was the turn up that was near the 0, and also it was higher than, because I'm just doing longs for this one and I'll show you my rules in a minute. It's higher, so it's moving on up. Now you might say, but that's not a divergence. I'm not actually looking for divergence. I decided not to bother about divergence. I decided not to complicate it that much. I thought I'd just keep it simple. So all I'm looking for is, because I'm going long, that I just want a slightly higher TRIX relative to where it was prior before. So we'll go find another one. And as I say, because it's on a 5-minute, there's lots of them. There's a stop, and I'll just illustrate again all the things we're looking for. So across through here, then we're really looking for our first turn that's near the zero, but then an hour prior, because we're going long, it needs to be higher than where it was an hour before. And the intelligent, if there's anything intelligent about it, thing behind this is, even though I'm on a 5 minute, because of one subtlety with my indicator, I actually want, I'm still sort of considering something to do with the hourly, if you can sort of see how I'm doing that. And this one got me in here and stopped me out. Now you might say, Greg, why didn't you take this turn back here, because it's near the zero? Well, if you go back an hour prior, you're at a higher level for your tricks. And I'll go look at another one, and then we'll start building a new system together. So there's our cross. Here's our turn up around the zero line, and relative to before it, it's generally at a higher level. Okay, and in we go. And I was actually, if you want to get technical about it, looking 12 candles ago. Now, next thing to discuss is, how did that go over the long run? Okay, that's my profit line, rising nicely. Yoink. Been a bit average for about 4 months recently through this bit, but then it's taken off again. And I've got a 15 pip profit, 15 pip stop, so it's about equal. And you can see my largest losing trade is actually 19, and I'd say that's just because of I was running it through some backtesting historical data, and I do allow it to hold over a weekend or something if it wanted to, or through a public holiday, so that's probably what caused that. Maximum consistent losers in a row is 4. You can see its average success is 58% success, which when the profit and stop's 50-50 is not that great at all. And you can see my win and my loss and the overall profit. So as it is, while it's a noise system, I wouldn't pick it up and take it and trade it tomorrow without just a slight polish. I'd want to lift this to above 65. But also it's quite nice to see the thing has been built from the start of 2007, and it's got 255 trades, which is a lot of trades. But hopefully that's just encouraged you a little, because you've done your hard work and built your system, and I've met you halfway and built one too with you, and maybe it's just given you a few ideas with your trading. Now we're going to build a system together, and then you're also going to use it for your homework. Okay, remember our monkey? We are going to build a monkey system together. We discussed monkey trading systems in the workshop, but we haven't actually done one together. I think a good place to start, if you just simply don't know where to start. KB says, do you think trades are best with at least 65% wins? I've only been looking at 70% and above. Yeah, KB, I'd minimum 65, but I too would want them to be 70 and above, really. Absolutely, because human error is going to knock you down 5% anyway. Absolutely. Okay, so let's say for all your learning and all your building of systems, you feel like, yep, I can be a better trader, but I'm not too sure which ones I'm going to go live with, and I still feel I don't actually have a lot of experience in trading live money. Well, the very best place to start is what we call monkey trading systems, which are the very simplest type of trading system you can think of, which we talked about, and it may only be once a day, and sometimes it may not be an opportunity at all. But remember, a key point to beginning your trading, and a key point to being a successful trader, is you need to go from win to win, from strength to strength, which means you've got to succeed and feel successful with your trading even from the start. You need to get off on the right leg. And a very simple monkey system can do that just to grow your account a little. Because if you start and you have some losses, you're just not going to make it long term. So you need to experience that initial success. So this week, even if in the whole 3 months you don't have the time to build many systems, and the ones suggested, take the time to build these ones, and we're going to try and build one now. And next week I'll show you the stats behind the one we discussed in the workshop. Alrighty, we're going to build this in a bit of a different way. We're going to try something and we'll see how we go. I'm going to see how well you've been listening. So we're going to do this a bit different. Bob, I want you to give me an FX market to build a system on. So name an FX pair that we're going to build it on. What I'm going to demonstrate to you guys is I'm going to ask each of you for a different element, and then I'm going to see if I can build a monkey system for you. Okay, so the simplest of all trading systems. Okay, USD Japan, good pick, thank you. You're being kind to me today. I'm going to go get a USD Japan chart. Next I want Karen, can you please give me a time frame? Not tick, I want minute of some sort. Now, I don't want you guys to just see how difficult you can make my life. I want you to, from everything you've learned, suggest something useful. So go, okay, he's trying to build a monkey system here. His best approach is going to be, brilliant, you guys have been listening well. So USD Japan, said Bob. Karen said you'd go the 60-minute. I'm going to bring up quite a bit of history. So I'm going to go back 300 days. So USD Japan, Karen says 60-minute. Now you might think, Greg, what am I going to learn by just watching you do all this slowly? Well, what you're going to learn is the process. Watch what I look at, watch how I think, and you'll see, oh, you know, the one thing you'll pick up from it is, you know what, Greg's not doing anything any different to what I do, which I guess will encourage you, because when you sit there feeling a little silly and a little dumb looking at the charts, thinking, oh, it's not just jumping out to me, well, guess what, it doesn't jump out to me either. I actually have to sit and figure it out the hard way too. So then you might feel a bit better when you're putting in the time as well. Okay, Jenny, can I please have an indicator? Any that pops into mind? What would you suggest? CCI. And set at what? What period do you want me to set it at? 14? Fine. Okay, so Jenny has chosen the default, which is quite smart too, because a lot of people are looking at the default indicators. There's no reason to run off and look at weird and wonderful settings. I mean, you can set your CCI at 300, and what's that achieve? No one else is looking at it at 300 on hourly, so you're kind of wasting your time. Okay, everyone's learnt well so far. I have a good bunch of students. And Karina, can you give me please a time of day? Midday US. Woohoo! Wow, that's gonna be a challenge. Ah, midday here. Thank you. You've been kind. Okay, that's a good time. I've just got to think in my head conversion wise. Midday here is what time over there? Can someone tell me? I'm just trying to think myself. It's 2 hours different. Oh, sorry, let me use my brain. 10 AM here. Ah, sorry, 10 PM over there. Great, thanks guys. 10 PM. Okay, that's a nice time. So another smart comment. You traders are learning well. And the reason why that's smart is because it's quite dead, which means it's a dead time of night. I mean, you're looking at an American economy when they're all sound asleep. There's not a lot going on at 10 at night in the US, is there? So it's pretty still. Now you can also go for a very lively time as well. There's no harm in that. Alright, well I've got my work cut out for me. I'm going to now have a little bit of a browse and see what I can spot. Now one thing I would do is I would actually cheat and write some code that puts a dot above all my 10 PMs. Now, when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, alright, if my eye goes to every 10 o'clock, I'm going to drive myself up the wall, because I'm first going to have to scale back to the 10 o'clock at night, which is 22, so I'm going to have to go find all the 2200 hours. And then I'm going to have to go down and study what the is doing, and it's going to get and then go on to the next one. It's going to be quite laborious. But with my human eye, if I instead on the CCI just go for a significant area of the CCI, someone type in what's straight away off the top of your mind, what's a significant area of the CCI? What's the first thing you could look at if you just went a level on the CCI? Yeah, exactly. 0. Spot on. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to skim through every time the CCI is at 0, and what I might do is, it's never going to be exactly at 0, so I might give it a range and say plus or minus 50 on either side, and then I'm interested in when price at 10 at night is in or around the 0 point, and then I'm going to skim through and see if there's anything of interest, and then I'm going to start to make some generalizations. So I'm just going to change my lines so it sort of marks it around 50. And that's not smart because my cursor's that. I'll go for a green. So as unglamorous as this is what I do too. And I'll keep telling you, well, yes, I do have my fancy technologies to assist me. My best systems still come from manually observing. Okay, that's better. Alright, I've just spotted one. So now, when I skim through, all I'm looking for is, firstly, I'm just going to go flying through and find whenever CCI is sort of around this dead center zone, around the 0. And then I'm going to look up and see what's going on at 10. I'll see, make sure it's at 22, and if it is, I'll just put an arrow on it and make an observation. For some of you who have studied the CCI a little bit, you'll be interested to know that CCI sort of hovering around 0 coincides with a moving average of the same period. I keep wanting to say periodicity, but that's a silly thing to say. So 14 CCI, sort of bouncing off 0. If you have a look at a moving average, simple moving average of 14, and price bouncing off that, you'll find that they coincide just because they're mathematically quite similar at that point. Alright, so let's go find some 22s. So there's a point there, and it's just coming down there, so that's food for thought. And remember, with a monkey system, all you're looking to do is if there's an opportunity there that day, you take it. If you don't, you don't. Why would you do this? Because you're time poor, which means you don't have the time to watch the charts. You're not, as a trader, you don't have strong emotional muscle. You frankly just don't trust yourself. You think you'll get out early or something like that. And also you want to build a system that is strong, isn't going to change itself overnight. And this is a great approach. Alright, there it is going through there. And see how it was at 22 just here? Now, it's outside the 50s by a small amount, but I'm not going to get funny about it and say, oh no, it's got to be perfect. Okay, it's generally within that region. Okay, now I'm going to go hunting again. Here's another one. Right there at 22. So already I hope you have learnt. Can you see how finding the 22 hour each day on the chart would normally be a headache? It would just be crazy. But because I've said, okay, well, rather than looking at each of them, I'm going to break it down. Has everyone seen that lesson that I've chosen to already look at my indicator first and find something that's significant with that, and look at that first, and that just culls down a lot of what I have to look at. And see if I can see a pattern there. Because if I can't find anything interesting with it around 0, I'm not interested to see what it's doing around 200. And the reason, I mean, I could go into it, but you could say, oh, 200 is an extreme, therefore it is interesting. Well, yeah, but anything's an extreme. 200 is an extreme, and so is 500. But 0 is a return to the mean, or to the average, and that's more relative. Alright, let's go hunting for another one. That's out of it, but it has just left the zone, so I will mark it. Now I find this interesting. This is completely out. Remember I said right out of the zone? It's interesting that it is right out. So I can't resist but put a sideways arrow into that. That one there is fairly out, but interesting nonetheless. Now here's another interesting one. It's not even worth marking. This is also outside. It's an extreme outside, and there's nothing to note of that, where the other one, it was a turning point. So I'm not actually, I will leave the arrow there, not because I like it, but it's actually drawing my attention to why I don't like it. Should I get any ideas later. Okay, so you can see I'm drawing my attention to some of these that are outside the 50 and 50. But if one candle later the CCI came into that area, then I'm interested in it. Okay, that's out. Now I'm going to speed up a little bit more. That one's right out. Now this one here, the previous candle, it's also out, and you'd say, well, what about that? That's coming from having been in that zone. So does that interest you like the others? Well, the previous candle, it's also outside, but it's the current one is a real extreme, so no, that doesn't interest me. And next week I want to give you a different system to this, but I want to see too if I can take exactly what you've given me and build a system. Okay, that was one thin one out. Now, I hope you are all doing some thinking and seeing if you are seeing anything with this. With each one you're seeing, you're going, I've spotted something that's really interesting about that. Yeah, see, this type of thing here interests me. Now it's going to make me go ask a question, actually this one is. Alright, here's the question this one makes me ask. I might write it on the screen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell myself that I'm up to here by putting a messy cross in like that. Then I'm going to ask myself, this was on the 22 candles, the 10 o'clock at night candle, which is about lunchtime here. And it was just outside, and it had come from within, so I'm going to show you where it was. See how it was in, and it came to without on the sell side, and the effect we had was that. Well, my question is, okay, on the ones that were just outside the 50, that had come from within the 50, did price drop away a little bit? So now I'm just going to shoot back and find any. So here's one. And that's exactly what happened. It was within, and now it's moved out. Okay, so the 10 o'clock area I'm looking at, yes, it's out of that range, but it's come from within to without. Okay, so it's showing me things are on the move, and it's dropping on down again. Okay, let's go look for some more evidence of this. That was, okay, the previous one wasn't within, no. No. Okay, this interests me. Excellent. This was the previous one was inside. And then it moved to this actual one was outside that area, and it's moved up. Now, what move was that? 93.14. 93.43, so still 22 pips in that. At that time of day I'm not going to be choosy on big or small. I'd say, okay, 22. What if I just had 22 profit and stop? Let's keep looking. Now this is the opposite of what we're talking about. That was outside and it came within the zone. That doesn't interest me. As is that one. As is that one. Okay, so I had I think I had 3 references and I was quite happy with what I found. Alright, I've got another question for you. With our little observation, and I'm sure you're starting to see this too, did you notice that the shorts, I mean, yeah, okay, tiny sample size, but there's things that you'll start to see quite clearly pretty easily. The shorts at face value seemed to work quite well, didn't they? The one long we saw, there wasn't much in it, was there? Now those of you who attended the free session, did you see the picture I showed you of the USD Japan from about 1988 until now? And you also saw the 5-year view, and you could see from say 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, you could see that view, and I said overall you could just have a very vague bias where you just sort of, on a particular currency pair, just slightly expect the shorts and the longs to be a bit different, and that can sort of help formulate why you would have that opinion. Well, there you are, you're seeing that there. And on we go. So there we go. I probably won't talk for the full hour, as it's just me, and more talking doesn't necessarily mean more value. But I did want to illustrate that. If you guys have any questions, I might just have some, and sometimes a question can spark a really good conversation, but that's the type of thing I want you to go away and do. It took us 40 minutes. Once you have a cement idea, I find that I can backtest about a year in an hour. So if you had 2 hours spare sometime this week, you should be able to test an idea of 2 hours. Now it might take you an hour to find the idea. It took me 40 minutes. And there we are. There's an idea that I have established, and I might look at that a little more. So for you, it might take 3 hours total, but then you could have a really good little system, and it's just lunchtime every day. It either adds up or it doesn't, and you find the success over the last 2 years backs up your reason why you want to do it. and you feel pretty good about it. Then you just traded $1 a pip to start with, so you're just making or losing, say, $80, and your goal is every month with that one to just make sure you're finishing in the green on it. Okay, did anyone find it helpful that way, just building it in real slow-mo like that? Okay, great. So another thing, and I'll just drive the point home, is remember how we said, okay, we're going to look at every 2200 hours candle. Well, I mean, it'd just be a real struggle for your eyes to even find that, but by going this other way, then your eyes are going to the bottom first, and then you're just running your cursor through to see if 22 lights up down the bottom as you run your cursor through. Okay, very good. Well, we've got about 20 minutes to go for this session. Do you guys have any questions or any troubles you're having with your trading? Otherwise we might just wind this one up slightly before the hour. Of course some weeks we go over the hour, so it balances out. And do remember guys, next week get your mics. I'll be turning the mics on and quizzing you. I'll be turning the mic on and saying, right Craig, how are you going? Is everything progressing well and so on. I'll tell you a hilarious story. See, this is where we get chatting and we can cover some interesting stuff. Alright, on one computer I have Ninja 6 point something or other 0.9, so it's about 3 versions old, and I was building a system with parabolic SAR today, and I thought, okay, that's great. And then I moved it onto a computer that trades it on my behalf, as you know I like to do. And what it said to me is, oh, do you want to take your parabolic SAR with you, because they've upgraded it in the latest version. I think they're up to 0.6, 0.5, 0.1009, 0.12. And what I did is I didn't realize that they changed it, but I looked at the latest version, which you guys all have, of the parabolic SAR, and then I had a look at the old version, and I looked at the current version. Well, the current version does parabolic SAR exactly as it should. The older version, it does parabolic SAR and it does it fine, but it just has a funny quirk. That it's not a bug, it's just the way it plots it is just sort of a variation of how you could do it, but it's not textbook. It's, for example, if you remember parabolic SAR, it's the dots that sort of speed up and then hit the candle and then they jump to the other side. Well, the way it speeds up is they're not supposed to be able to go backwards. They can only, or deaccelerate. No, they can deaccelerate, but they can't. Will go backwards. But anyway, it is in a very rare situation possible in the older versions. Anyway, so I built this wonderful system in this slightly older version of this indicator, and then I noticed the textbook new one, it actually made my system a lot worse. And the end of the story is this indicator that had this slight quirk that wasn't exactly textbook perfect with the older version of Ninja. I found I can build lovely systems with it with that quirk, and the new one that is the textbook that everyone around the world, if they're ever using parabolic SAR, should be. It's actually harder to build a system with it. I don't like it as much. And so, okay, it's been corrected because obviously someone's complained to Ninja and they've gone, yep, I'm going to fix this, and so now it's fixed for everyone. But what's funny is I think some will have a look at the older one and go, okay, that's interesting, and take it, and you can actually customize your own indicators and that, and then take that and say, okay, it's my variation, so it would be parabolic SAR space, and then I might just write my name or something, and it's just a slight change in the code and how it works. And they'll continue to use that, and it's to their benefit, and to the mainstream who whinged and wanted it right, it's to their detriment. And so I find it really funny because one of our traders right now says they like the Monday pivots. Well, as we found with the Monday pivots, they can be a little funny because of the Sunday session, depending on how you've got your time on your own PC. But it's not a matter of what's technically correct, it's a matter of what works. And if one trader here really enjoys them the way they are, why change it? And I'm the same. I've got systems running on it and they work, and the point is, does it work more than what's technically correct? Now Connie says this trade just used the CCI. Yeah, Connie, with what I'm suggesting to you now, I've just chosen CCI. What I'm saying to you, this was a suggestion that the room put to me. What I'm suggesting to you though is the other way round. You choose your own market. I want everyone to go away and choose their own market. I want everyone to choose their own time frame, their own indicator, and their own hour of the day that they're going to take. So CCI was put to me, but please choose your own and choose whatever you want. The other point is too, Connie, let's say it was really simple and I just had one indicator, and for whatever reason I did all my sums and I found it was a good idea to do, but there was just a particular scenario that always didn't work. Then I may put in a second indicator, but it's only to remove the ones that don't work and keep all the ones that do. What you'll actually find with that though is trying to filter out all the bad or not working ones by adding a second indicator will hardly improve things. It'll actually do very little. It'll probably reduce some of your winning trades as well as your losing trades and just reduce your signal count, which you don't want to do. A smarter way of doing it is to say, alright, for all the trades that didn't work, what was something interesting about the size of the candle at that time? And you might find all the ones that didn't work had a ridiculously unrealistic candle size between the high and the low, and that might be your second filter type. Okay, Steve asks a question. He says, what are your thoughts on trading closing the gap on the S&P at the start of the cash market? Okay, so Steve's question is, the US cash market begins, the market's running at 9:30 AM Eastern Standard Time. Relative to where price is right now, there's a chance it will travel back to the price level at 4:15 Eastern Standard Time the previous day, and it's called closing the gap or trading back to the gap. And what's my opinion on doing that? I don't really have an opinion on doing it that late in the day, Steve. Trading it back after the market has opened, I think it'd be a bit late in the morning to be doing it. Okay, so after 9:30, trading it back to the close is, yeah, a bit late in the day. I'd say, why so late in the day you're doing it? I'd look earlier in the morning. Okay, Steve Knight asked a question. He says, what's your favourite way to trade the parabolic SARs? At the moment I'm enjoying, as simple as it sounds, just when it changes sides, so it hits a candle and then switches to the other side, use that as my entry and have a fixed profit and stop thereafter. Simple as that. But linking it with one other indicator to give me a more real reason to enter than just that. Okay, traders, well, thank you very much. I hope you've picked up some stuff. Good luck with your monkey system. Have lots of fun. Enjoy building it. So best of luck, traders, and we'll see you next week.